Gentleman from New Jersey.
Just very briefly, to my good friend from California, I believe, and I believe all of us should believe, that human rights are indivisible. We need to emphasize all human rights violations. This is a comprehensive listing of those violations, whether it be against the Uyghurs, the Tibetans, religious liberties, political prisoners. It seems to me that when you have the gravest, and I believe it is the largest violation of women's rights in the history of humankind occurring, that we need to speak to that. And a couple of paragraphs, whereases and a resolve, asking the Chinese government to abandon their coercive population control policy, a policy, like I said earlier, that makes brothers and sisters illegal and relies on ruinous fines. The State Department has reported that from 1/2 to 10 times the annual salary of both husband and wife is paid if a child is conceived out of the government plan. That is a violation of women's right to privacy like no other. They monitor the women's menstrual cycles to ensure that they are not carrying a child. Women have babies on the run. They hide the pregnancy. That's why some of these later-term abortions occur. They are able to evade the population planning cadres or the family planning cadres until they are finally discovered, and then they are forcibly aborted. That, to me, is a crime against humanity.
Can I reclaim a member of my...
The Nuremberg War Crimes Tribunal recognized, as it ought to have recognized, that the forced abortion of Polish women was a crime against humanity. It is no less a crime against humanity today, and it has been occurring since
reclaiming my time.
My time.
The time is the gentleman from Indiana's.
So this is a strengthening amendment, and I think we need to be consistent, comprehensive, as the chairman has attempted to do in the remainder of this resolution. This is a strengthening amendment, and I think there are no orphan human rights. Nobody should be left behind, whether you be a Tibetan or a Uyghur or a Falun Gong or a Catholic underground or a Protestant. I asked a Protestant underground preacher 3 weeks ago how the women in his congregation deal with forced abortion and involuntary sterilization. First, he said every single woman in his congregation has been malaffected by it. There was no exceptions. And he said that the burden, the pain, the agony, the spiritual agony as well as the mental agony is numbing to them. But he said, you know, their faith helps them to get through it. So many other women are not so fortunate in terms of coping. We, at the very least, as a Congress, as a committee that believes in the fundamental human rights and the indivisibility of human rights, ought to at least speak this truth to that power, that being in Beijing, and saying, stop it. Defend your women. Don't treat them in such a horrible way as you're doing. So I would hope that my colleagues on both sides of the aisle would accept this amendment, just like I hope you accept the amendment on the political prisoners, the other amendment that's pending.